What was the dumbest thing you got punished for at school? Two kids got into a fist fight, and I was given a detention because I was in close proximity to them when the fight started. They even told the teacher I had nothing to do with it, but she didn't listen. I've always referred to it as the proximity detention. Should have sent someone else to serve it for you, then you could have detention by proxy. Proxy detention by proxy. A teacher once told me I looked at her funny in elementary school, and my parents got a phone call saying that I had been rude to a teacher. I still, at 31 years old, have no idea what the frick I did to piss this teacher off. I apparently ate carrots too loudly, got detention for eating. How are you even supposed to eat carrots quietly? Gently gum at them. Take tiny nibbles like a mouse. Swallow it whole. Back in middle I never got in trouble, except for this one time, when I got my work done faster than everyone else. So I got sent to detention because the teacher thought I wasn't doing anything. The funny thing is, when I arrived, even the administrator watching the detention students had a shocked look on their face because they never expected me in there. They ended up just telling me to go back to class 30 minutes later. I recognize that. At our basic school, my math was very good. Brag. We had a national math test to determine which level middle school you go to. I had 0 errors, with only a handful of kids nationwide. So the teacher wrote the questions on the chalkboard and I wrote down the answer straight away. So when he was done, I was ready, but the rest of the class just started. What else was I to do but look outside? Teacher got angry at me for not doing anything, but Jay showed him I was done already. He aggressively checked my answers, only to find I made no mistakes. On one hand, I wonder how to check a math problem aggressively, but on the other hand, I know exactly what you mean. String cheese. Amazingly, my kindergarten teacher never knew about this incredibly common food. So she kept me in for recess because I was playing with my string cheese. I'm not going to bite into it like a barbarian, Mrs. Harris. I'm in my mid-40s. I had to look up what it was right now. Then again, I don't live in the US. Yeah, I didn't think of the regional aspect. I'm early 30s, but it was a staple food for us 90s kids in the US. I sharpened my pencil at the same time as somebody else. What were you thinking? You're lucky that you're still alive. I know, it was reckless behavior and I should count my blessings for surviving it. I was 5 at a public Christian school summer and a mass 5th grade girl just decided to sock me in the gut for some reason. I told the recess duty and she deadass yelled at me for interrupting her quiet time and made me sit for the rest of recess. Holy crap, for crap, she is very bad. And it's my most upvoted thing. Someone sneezed, and I said bless you. Disrupting class 1 hour detention. Oh, you got off lightly. Sounds like there's a story here. Sharpened a crayon in a pencil sharpener in 1st grade. Lost recess and the principal called my mom. Mom was not amused, yelled at the principal for interrupting her workday for a minor offense, said that sharpening a crayon was hardly the first step towards juvenile delinquency. Sharpens crayon, this kid has a horrible life ahead of him. It's called learning to make a shiv. Was fighting back against people who were beating the crap out of me. Yeah, most schools do this for some fricked up reason. It's a zero tolerance policy. It's an excuse for the administration to not have to deal with finding out what actually happened or deal with the root problem. Just punish everyone and call it a day. The way I walk to my chair. Teacher told me to walk correctly and I told her I was. Then I stuck my tongue out. I was in kindergarten. She turned my chair to the wall. Then I got in trouble again when she told me to turn back around and I said I'd rather look at the wall. I'd laugh my ass off at the teacher who was delivered this one-liner. I've been waiting 29 years to tell this story. I was in kindergarten and my teacher had brought out a brand new, giant, cork board that we were all super excited about because she said she'd be pinning all of our art to it. Then she leaned it against the wall near her desk, and then snack time / recess quickly replaced any thought in a 5-year-old's mind about artboards and cork bullcrap. Later that day I was called over to the desk by my teacher and the classroom assistant and asked to write my name on a piece of paper. I did as instructed. This turned out to be a mistake, but these assholes didn't tell me what was going on. so I had no reason to protest. I innocently awaited an explanation as to why I had been pulled from my construction paper and paste masterpiece. As it had transpired, some other 5-year-old pinhead that was not me had written my name on this corkboard. I don't know why. I'll never know why. All I know is that everyone involved failed to take into account that all 5-year-olds write exactly the same, and tricking me into writing my name on a piece of paper proved only that I could spell my own goddamn name. I was sent to the office because I wouldn't admit that I had done it. Because I hadn't done it. My mom later tricked me into admitting otherwise by lying and saying she'd been walking past the classroom just then and saw me do it. I thought, well frick, if my mom saw me, I must have done it. It never occurred to me to ask just why exactly she had been there. I trusted her implicitly. It would be the last time. And because of that little bit of motherly betrayal, I was press ganged into collecting pieces of trash around the kindergarten playground during next day's snack time. I'm still bitter about this. Now that you are grown up, have you asked your mom? I have actually. A couple times. She doesn't remember, but swears up and down that she never would have taken their side in a situation like that if I said I didn't do it. I've made her apologize to me for it, but it doesn't pack the same punch as it would if she actually recalled the incident. Trading Pokemon cards in 8th grade. It was considered gang activity. Any group that had 5 or more people was considered a gang and banned. School was dumb. In 1st grade me and my friends got in trouble for trading trash packs because according to teachers it could lead to problems if an unfair trade occurs. All trash packs were then banned. Also, I'm really not sure if trash packs were as popular around the world as they were at my school, but basically they're small rubber figurines that had different rarities that you would trade with your friends. Same here. One kid was extremely obnoxious and would constantly ask to have some cards when we would trade during free time. One specific day me and my friend were sitting in class and he kept asking to have some cards. We told him to go away and got in trouble for talking. When it was revealed we were leaving him out, our teacher made us give him a card each. We both gave him an energy card. I got suspended for not coming to school, like duh, that's what I wanted. Got sent home for coming late. Got phone taken away for not responding to texts. Got laptop taken away for not coming to online class. Got a thing taken away for not doing $thing purpose. She made a mistake that resulted in me failing a test. Then she accused me of trying to cheat and lie to her and punished me for it. When you're an adult and this happens to you, it's no big deal, it's just another asshole you have to deal with. But it's very different when you're a child that trusts and respects authority. I once had a test where we had to write a couple of lines using a certain tense, like write a short story using the present perfect in each sentence. Only, the assignment said write maximum 10 lines. So I wrapped up my story in 7 lines and handed it in. The teacher deducted points for not writing 10 lines, and after I mentioned it said maximum 10 lines, she, the person who is supposed to teach me English and who should have a solid grasp on the meaning of words in that language, said yeah, but by maximum I mean minimum. Same, but in my case she said by maximum I meant at least. I just stared like that guy in the Friends meme. I got in trouble for my sparkly hair clips. Was like 8 years old. Had bangs cut. Teacher called it a distraction and taped them back. I'm sorry, the frick? A guy in my chemistry class was making fun of people reading. He said books were stupid. I said, well, that's fair if the only thing you've read was The Pokey Little Puppy. Got pulled into the assistant principal's office the next day. I was told that just because you think something doesn't mean you have to say it. I still wonder how that comment escalated so fast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That book is a gem. You take that back. I still have this book. I used to read it to my daughter and she, in turn, used to read it to my son. That one and Puddle Duck. For turning in my project by myself. My teacher said it was unfair to others, even though she was aware that I did the project by myself. And the cherry on the top, her son was in my group as well, and he did absolutely nothing at all. WTF. Unless there is literally no other teachers in that grade, you should never have a relative as your teacher, especially not your parent. In high school we had a uniform. This uniform included the color of, among other things, jumpers, socks and even shoelaces. Now my high school was in a bit of a strange place I guess. It was near both very wealthy and very poor areas, along with the usual amount of regular wealth. If you didn't wear the right colors for your uniform, you got an E8. An E8 was a detention for the most of lunchtime, so named after the room where you sat in silence as punishment. Here in Australia, our winters are very mild compared to elsewhere. This means I don't need to own a wardrobe full of jumpers, coats, and jackets. I was also poor when growing up, so I owned about 2, one of which was much warmer than the other. Pretty much every day during winter in year 9, I got an E8 for wearing a jumper that wasn't the right color. I never told the teachers why. It was really embarrassing. Thing was, I simply just never went to the detentions, which causes escalation. I got given more detentions, which I did not attend. They threatened to call my mum about it, which was exactly what I wanted. After that phone call, where my mum ripped that teacher to shreds on for punishing me for trying to keep warm, I never got another E8 again. I would like to say that, because of me the E8s stopped, but they didn't. Your mom is amazing. In first grade, I used to finish a lot of the in-class math work well ahead of everyone else, and my teacher's response would be to put me in the class closet, so I would not bother the other students. This went on for about 6 months, before I told my parents, at which point the teacher was promptly fired. I didn't understand it wasn't normal at the time. Why didn't the teacher think to give you extra credit worksheets? Sad. That's exactly what my parents say every time this story comes up. A girl who said I looked at her for too long walked up and punched me in the face on my first day at a new school before the bell even rang for first period. The principal observed this and decided I had to have provoked her beforehand, so she gave us both detention. I showed up, the other girl didn't. I got in trouble for not showing up. It turned out that the name of the girl who punched me and my name were incredibly similar. Same first name, most of the same letters of the last name. So when the person doing detention saw the names she marked the wrong one off. No amount of my arguing that I had really been there did any good until I persuaded the principal to speak to the person who marks names off and ask her which race the person was who had shown up. Only then did I get credit for it, but from then on the principal called me a troublemaker because I had pushed back at her authority. This is why I hate adults. I also hate most kids, so that's because kids have asshole adults as examples. It was probably either the time 7-year-old me got told off for making fun of God for trying to explain what Pastafarianism was, or the time I brought in a cricket ball. My uncle is Pastafarian, but nobody had quite explained to me that that entire religion is meant as a joke/satire of sorts. So I seriously thought he believed in a flying wad of spaghetti, and understandably the religion class teacher thought I was taking the mickey out on him. My family were already on dodgy terms with him because we were atheists going to a Catholic school. The cricket ball one is plain stupid though. I'm an Australian living abroad. One day I bring in a cricket set that has a cricket ball that looks like a red tennis ball but very heavy. Teacher then took away my ball and I got in trouble because someone could mistake this for a tennis ball and get seriously hurt. Never mind the oversized solid wood cricket bat I had, it was the ball that was the issue. I've seen cricket balls. You might at a distance confuse it for a tennis ball, like a weird looking one, but then as you pick it up you'll be like, oh, this isn't a tennis ball. But if you're still confused, try bouncing it. Yep, not even close. Don't worry though. You can use the cricket bat to beat her up and take it back. I got detention because I dropped a kumquat on the floor and my friend ate it. She then told a teacher, in tears, that we forced it down her throat. Lol. I have a similar story to this. Once, I tapped a girl's foot in 3rd grade. At the end of recess, I was pulled aside by my teacher who then said, "Why did you kick Patty today?" At first, I had no idea what she was talking about, so I said, "I never kicked Patty." Patty then comes in sobbing, claiming that I kicked her. Definitely one of the most traumatizing events from my childhood. If Patty is out there, you suck. Frick Patty. All my homies hate Patty. A friend of mine got in trouble for clapping Allegedly, he clapped exactly once, which obviously means sarcasm, and that obviously means he was making fun of the teacher. Funniest part? Nobody clapped. Teacher heard a noise, assumed it was a clap, assumed the last student to get into class was the one who clapped, assumed it mean making fun of her, and then sent the dude right to the principal's office. She left the class in tears after none of us would take her authority seriously anymore. All the teachers were on her side telling us we did something horrible by making fun of her, and even the principal told us so at one point. That day I lost respect for the school system and asked the teacher where I could buy a diploma like hers. I was suspended, but it was worth it. Asked the teacher where I could buy a diploma like hers. I love this. I got in trouble for having long hair at a Catholic school where the main person looks like a stoner who is not into drugs. Like Jesus. Man, they should have worshipped you. Now they all had their heads so far up their own asses they could see their own hearts. One of my history teachers at school put me in the middle of two childish troublemakers on a 3-person desk, and they used to fight over me, all because I was the quiet one in the class. When I look back, I was partly punished by her for being shy and quiet, which was very unfair and terrible teaching from a teacher. Something like that happened to me in 2nd grade, and when the troublemakers were fighting over me, I got in trouble for disturbing the class, even though I didn't even say a word. It just makes you look back on your education and at your teachers and question how they got the job. People said I was racist for telling an Asian kid he had the personality of a spaghettio, and I got a write-up. That's a compliment, not an insult. Spaghettios are fun, interesting, and kind. That's a better personality than a lot of people I know. In 1st grade I said son of a gun and my teacher swore I said son of a btch. So I was written an infraction to be signed by my parents. When I was in 9th or 10th grade, one of my friends said the words pirate ship on the bus and the bus driver thought he said piece of crap because we were in the back of the bus and she was lip reading. We all defended him, but of course that old witch didn't believe us. Recess supervisor yelled at me to leave her alone because nobody likes a tattletale. I was 8 years old and had went to her for help because some bullies who'd been tormenting me for most of the year had seriously hurt me. 20 years later my spine is still having problems from those little jerks. Culminated with the principal bringing me in and trying to expel me for the bullying. I hadn't even fought back, just ran. Reading that made me die inside. Was wearing a red shirt. Reminds me of my HS's very brief no crazy hair color rule that included red and black. Watching grown adults debate over the authenticity of natural red hair was extremely depressing. Also, one kid with natural jet black hair got in trouble first for his natural hair and then a second time for bleaching it white in retaliation. Lol, we had the dumbest rules. What a legend.